Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Stover, licensed marriage and family therapist, and you're listening to the Modern Day Romantic Podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, we are going to be exploring why people love Hallmark Christmas movies. Now, we're approaching this as romantics and looking through that lens, and I think there's a lot to say if we start from that place. It's not just about romantic movies. These are Christmas movies. And Christmas is a time that can be very romanticized for a lot of people. It's a time to gather with friends, family, loved ones. It's a time to stay inside and be cozy. It's a time of eating great food and nourishing yourself. It's a time of being pampered or, receiving gifts, giving gifts. It's the season for so many hopes, dreams, wishes, expectations. And I think a lot of times in the life of a romantic, things don't always go according to how the fantasy of them might go. But when you watch a Hallmark Christmas movie, you get the fantasy to be exactly as you wish it to be. One quality in these movies that I think is really important to bring to light is there's often a familial component. So these movies aren't just about the couple. They're about a larger coming together. Maybe someone goes back to their hometown and they're at their parents' home or their childhood home, let's say, and they run into someone that they used to date from a long time ago. I think that storyline gets played out a bit on those movies, so we'll just go with that one. But there's something about the inclusivity and that this isn't just about two people falling in love. There's usually a larger connection to group, to community, that the love is celebrated, the love is expressed, the love is experienced through the spirit and magic of the holidays. So I think these movies are kind of a double whammy, a boom boom for romantics. You get the romance of the holidays as well as the love story that unfolds through the holiday season. So I think that right there is a dopamine and oxytocin release for a lot of people that watch it. The holidays are a time that put us in touch with nostalgia. And nostalgia is something that takes us back. It takes us back in time to a younger version of ourselves. Holiday traditions, time with family, time to get really excited and have anticipation of perhaps, and again, this is only if you celebrate Christmas. I know that not everyone does, but for example, if we're looking at holiday Christmas movies with the Hallmark Channel, I think, maybe what did Santa Claus bring me? Or, those types of things. So there's the bearer of gifts, there's something unexpected, a surprise waiting for us. So the joy and the magic of that as a child, I think gets to be relived on some level in the psyche. Now, a lot of times Christmases don't play out like that, or the holiday season doesn't play out like that for people. And I want to honor and name that as well. But the hope and the potential for it to be there, I think still can live on, even if that is not our direct and lived experience. So a lot of the Hallmark Christmas movies, and I will admit I have not watched them in a little while, but when I did watch them, a lot of them seemed to take someone back to their hometown. And I think also, when we go back home, we're going back to a younger version of ourselves. And that nostalgia, again, is something that really, even those that are closeted romantics, because there's a lot of them out there that are really hooked on these Hallmark Christmas movies. There's something that kind of gets stirred or reawakened during the holiday season and watching these films that puts someone back in touch with maybe their own innocence, their own inner dreamer, their own inner romantic. So I think that's another reason why these films are so popular. On a general note, I think most people, most Americans, but probably worldwide, would say that they're under an incredible amount of stress. And I think watching a film that's relatively predictable, that is also not going to be too activating, and we know that there's going to be a positive or happily ever after outcome at the end, helps people de-stress. It helps them feel like, maybe all is right, or all is as it should be. And this is the way life's supposed to go. And so it's so, and we all know from actual experience, that's not the way life goes oftentimes. But these movies they put us in touch with something that kind of settles our nervous system and can maybe help give us a sense of comfort, safety, a place to orient to, a place to focus upon that doesn't bring about the big stressors, the huge life events that can be occurring in a person's life or worldwide even. It gives us reprieve for even 90 minutes, 2 hours, however long the movies run, to say, okay, I'm going to be in a space that feels good right now, and I don't have to worry about anything else. So I think that's another reason why these films are really, really popular. As far as the romantics, here's what I think. I've come up with 3 different things that I think these films show us about love and what might be the hook or enticement when it comes to watching these love stories play out through these movies. Okay, the first one is love can happen when you least expect it. When the film starts, it's usually someone who's been disillusioned by love, or is a workaholic, or has the regular stressors or burdens of life, and they're not really in a satisfying relationship. And maybe the relationship, like being in a relationship, isn't even on their radar. So as an audience, we get to watch and we get to see it coming, even though the actor, is hopefully doing a good job of acting like, I'm just living my life, not expecting anything from anything here. And so I think it feels good to be able to see and watch almost self-realization happen in front of us. Like, we can all see it, and we're just waiting for the hero or the heroine to see it for themselves. Because when they awaken, when they can see, wow, look what's here. Look what just happened. I've been in something I didn't even know. And now that my eyes are open and I'm awake and I can see, love is right here. It's available. It's waiting for me. So I think this is one of the draws of being able to observe or watch. And when we're watching something, we often are putting ourselves in the main character's place. I think that's just kind of a natural thing that we do in films. So we're having an indirect experience of that being us as well. And so for a romantic, I think this helps to bolster the hope, to kind of keep you along on the path, whether you're partnered or not. There's still that sense of the beauty and the potential of what is possible in a relationship, and to expect the unexpected, that love can happen at any point in time. And that is absolutely a core tenet of being a romantic, in my opinion. So piggybacking off the idea of love can happen when you least expect it, I think these films also show that love can be standing right in front of us. And all we have to do is change our perspective in order to be able to see it. And when we see it, that changes our reality. So for example, in those stories where people go back home and maybe are helping on a farm, Christmas tree farm or something like that, and you maybe see them fall in love with all along the parents have had a helper on the farm or something like that. The person may have been in their life for a really long time, or at least they may have been in one another's orbit, but they didn't quite see one another in that way. At least one of them didn't. So these moments of clarity, these moments of, oh, wow, I see you in a different light, can change everything as well. And I think so. This is something else that romantics can get really attracted to and subscribe and believe in, that things can change, relationships can change, our experience of another person can change through time. As we continue to grow, as we continue to develop, we see things differently. We see people differently, and people can see us differently too. And maybe, just maybe, that can lead to falling in love and sharing a life together, according to these movies anyways, right? So I think that's just another piece of kind of how a romantic can get stirred or hooked or see themselves, see kind of how they see reality play out in these films. And the final thing I wanted to say is I think these films, like I said, the closeted romantics, the holidays, all of this innocence with the Hallmark movie channel network in general, but the Christmas movies especially, there's such an innocence here and a real purity. And when we're looking at that in love stories, when we're looking at that kind of play out, and it may be oversimplistic, of course it is. It's a movie, right? It's probably G-rated, I think. It's for all audiences. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe it's PG. But the point is, there's nothing in here that is meant to be too activating. There's nothing in here that's going to cause a lot of distress. There's something really grounded, really safe, really a lot of sentimentality when we watch these. And I think it takes us into purer essence, purer consciousness. Now, some might say it's a younger form of consciousness or a naive form of consciousness, and perhaps it is. Still, though, whether it's before all of the hardships of life kind of come about or come upon or inflicted upon, however we want to think about that, a person, or whether it's more, I think a lot of romantics are very, very, very pure-hearted. Pureness is a really key component of the personality of a romantic. And so being able to watch a film where there's innocence, there's purity, there's a going back to younger, nostalgia, whatever we want to call it, it can be nourishing to the soul, because it's the way, whether or not we subscribe to this all the time in our lives, it's the way, quote unquote, we should treat one another, right? There's this pairing the Hallmark Christmas movie, let's say, with the holidays. There's just this double whammy of purity, of love, of giving, of unconditionality. And I think that's another reason why these films stir both the heart and the soul. So these are just a few thoughts I've come up with. I'd love to hear what for you either attracts you or draws you to these or repels you, because I know not everyone loves them, but I think a good majority, this empire that the Hallmark Christmas movie channel has established, is obviously saying this is resonating with people. And it's starting seemingly earlier and earlier and earlier each year. So there's a hunger for this. And I think it's really important to take a moment and reflect and say, if I am one of them, what is this doing for me? What is it that I am drawn to here? And maybe it's nothing other than I just feel good watching them. And that's a perfectly great reason to watch them. I would just be curious to hear what else did I miss? What else would you add? I'm sure there are a lot of unique answers and reasons, and I'd love to hear them. Happy holidays, everyone. Whether you're going to be watching Hallmark Christmas movies or not, spending time with loved ones or not, I hope that you're able to be in touch with the pureness of this season, the gifts that the heart brings us. Love, unconditionality, acceptance, peace, and joy. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you're interested in learning about ways to work with me, head over to my website, themoderndayromantic.com. From there, you'll be able to contact me and learn a bit more about the customized intensives and retreats I offer both individuals and couples. You'll also be able to support future podcast production via Patreon. There are several membership levels to choose from, including the Beating Hearts Club, which gives you access to exclusive content every month. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you next episode.